XRP predictions for January. This is timely as we are getting a bit of a correction right here. The alerts are going off on my phones, so I got to come on here live. We're going to be talking today about the XRP chart, the XRP astrology, and also some interesting things that I'm sharing with my private crypto Astro mastermind. You'll see right here that I said since I was mostly in cash, so this was on December 20th. Let's take a look at exactly where XRP was back then, right here. So XRP was around $1.90, but it was fluctuating. It was also going down to like 187, and then it continued to go down to 182 even. So I was dollar cost averaging in there, and I was letting my private crypto Astro mastermind know that. Let me say real quick that a lot of the most timely things I share in my crypto Astro mastermind, as I don't have, I have 2 kids. I don't have time to just constantly spur of the moment, come on and do videos, like multiple times a day, as I have a busy schedule over here. But this is what I said in December 20th. I'm deploying more into XRP now as Astro gets much better in January. So what I was looking at was the astrology here, and I was actually taking a look at the XRP ETF astrology. The first XRP ETF launched on November 13th, and I was looking back. We could go back to December, and let's see, I was looking forward into January, and I was seeing much more positive astrology, and that's why I bought more back in December. And so I'll be sharing more about that and most importantly, where we're at right now. So I was buying in here. I let my private group know that. And I just took some profits here around 238, I believe. And looks like we're getting a correction now. Time will tell if this is going to continue down like this, which is a possibility here, or if it's just a quick correction before another move up. So we'll be diving into that and figuring out exactly which direction we're going to go here. Let's see. Let's go back to here. And yeah, so there's that. So I got a 26% move up there with that trade. And I shared that with my private group. So XRP predictions. Let's take a look at the previous predictions. Back in December, I said there could be another big correction in mid to late December. Let's see what happened. Moving through the month of December, we started back here around, let's see, $2.21, pretty close to where we're at now. And we did head all the way down to $1.77. So we did get a dump there. So pat on the back. We've got some good predictions there on the month of December. And we will see how we do this month as well. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel to get the monthly updates here. None of this is financial or investment advice, of course. I'm Jack. I'm an engineer-ground crypto astrologer. I combine technical analysis with astrology. And my predictions are still at 86% accuracy since 2023 in the beginning of the bull market. So not bad, not bad. I'll pat myself on the back. Watch this video to the end, get the predictions, and smash the like button. Okay, let's dive into the first, the general astrology. We have January 1st, we had a Mercury square Neptune. Pretty confusing transit there. A lot of confusions just to start off the year here. We do have the Sun conjunct Venus coming up tomorrow, which actually right now is pretty good energy as Venus is Cazimi, which means it's within 1 degree of the Sun. And so this is actually bringing in some really, really positive energy. For me, I think it brought in the positive energy for me to take profits. We then get Mars conjunct Venus the next day, which is very, very interesting energy. So a lot of Venus energy, which is feel good and harmonious energy, love, and also money and what we value. So this is a good time to make clear decisions here with this harmonious energy. But then we get on January 9th, we get the Sun conjunct Mars, bit more negative, challenging energy. Could even be escalations with the WAR, which is concerning. So we could have more volatile world events. We know the decisions that Trump just made with Venezuela. There could be more kind of explosive events coming up here. Another potential reason why I took 20% profits. We have Venus opposing Jupiter on the 9th. That's not great. It could squash some of that optimistic energy. We have a lot of these oppositions to Jupiter from the 9th to the 14th. And that is over optimism. And so we want to be very, very careful about not being overly optimistic. Another reason why I took some profits. And then January 15th through the 18th, we have actually through the 19th, we actually have much more positive astrology. Just for the general astrology, this isn't specifically for crypto. But yeah, a lot of positive sextiles with Venus. And then Venus entering Aquarius, which historically crypto does very well when Venus is in Aquarius. So we will take that. That's very positive. Then the Sun sextile Saturn, which rewards hard work and discipline. And then we do get Mercury conjunct Mars, which is not good for the WAR. And then we have the Sun trine Uranus, which is actually very positive. And then the new moon is sextiling Neptune with Mercury sextile Saturn and Mercury trine Uranus, which is very positive. That's a very positive new moon there. So we could potentially get a peak around that new moon, give or take a few days. So that's really interesting there. But this is just the general astrology once again, and we'll take a look at the XRP astrology very soon in a minute here. Then we get all of these conjunctions with the moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury, and the Sun are all going to be conjuncting Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is us entering into the new world, the new future, the new technology, which includes blockchain, XRP. And all these planets are going to be conjuncting Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, which is major transformative energy, also death and rebirth energy. So there could be there honestly could be a major there could be a liquidation event or a correction as we transfer into this new world, because Pluto was in Capricorn in the last year and a half. It's been ingressing into Aquarius, so it's kind of the end of the old world and the start of the new world, and the planets are all conjuncting Pluto here. So yeah, it's really interesting, powerful, transformative energy here. So like I said, we could we could definitely see a large liquidation event or a big world event or a big correction. But overall, we also have this very positive astrology with Mars sextile Saturn, Mars trine Uranus, Saturn sextile Uranus. So it could be for the best. Overall, it could be optimistic if we make the right decisions this month. And let's dive into the XRP astrology. January 1st through the 8th, we have Jupiter trining the XRP. So this is an XRP ETF. Launched on November 13th. The Jupiter is trining the XRP-C Sun, which is in orb, bringing optimism, and we've gotten a nice move up already. And then January 6th, really interesting. Today we have Neptune conjunct Neptune, which is could bring a lot of confusion, as that's often what Neptune does in the markets. So it could bring delusion. All right, so it's not a good time to be overly delusional. Another reason why I took some profits. And so we have to be a bit careful here as we're seeing a correction. And Neptune is then going to sextile XRP-C Uranus on January 17th. That's positive, which is pretty close to that new moon. Within 3 days of that new moon, that was looking pretty good. But then here's a hint for February, as we are going to get Saturn conjunct the XRP-C Neptune. That's going to be an orb January 31st to February 19th. So that is actually a big concern, because Saturn often brings contraction, especially when it conjuncts the natal Neptune, as Neptune brings a lot of confusion. Saturn and Neptune are opposites in many ways. Oftentimes when I see a Saturn conjunct Neptune, natal Neptune, especially with crypto, we often get a sizable correction. So huge, big concern there for XRP bulls, especially for February. And then with the general XRP astrology, not the ETF, all of January we do get Uranus conjunct the XRP Jupiter in orb. So overall, we get a kind of a positive backdrop for the general XRP astrology. So perhaps I'm thinking, not financial advice, but I'm thinking like any major dips, I plan to buy the dip, particularly on when there's a lot of fear in the market, when there's like a big spike in the VIX, and maybe there's some major world events, and that's when I'm thinking about potentially buying aggressively. All right, because we do get this backdrop of pretty positive overall astrology for the XRP. I also took a look at the Bitcoin ETF astrology. January 5th, we did get Jupiter opposing the IBIT Sun. And for Bitcoin, that's within 24 hours of right now. And we're already seeing a correction. So that was actually right around the exact local top here for Bitcoin at 94,700. So that's really interesting. Jupiter opposing the IBIT Sun, because typically that can squash over optimism there. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And January 13th, we do get a bit more positive energy. Neptune sextiling the IBIT Pluto. January 17th, a couple days before that positive new moon, we do get Jupiter sextile the IBIT Uranus. So there is actually, but there is still a concern with the new moon, because it had overall general good astrology, but it has Saturn squaring the IBIT Mercury. So that's actually a concern where I'd say in the best case scenario, we get a peak. Potentially, it's difficult exactly to say. In the best case scenario, we could, don't think this is 100% accurate, because none of this is 100% accurate. This is not financial advice. But we could get, in the best case scenario, we could get a peak around, let's say, January 15th to the 19th. But in the worst case, we could actually just continue correcting from here, as we are already getting that correction. So that's what I got to say about that. But yeah, concerned that we get a Saturn square IBIT Mercury on the 19th for Bitcoin, which could inevitably affect XRP and altcoins. All right, let's take a look at the charts. So since we're talking about XRP, I already took some profits here. One thing I wanted to show y'all. The daily exchange volume is still very, very low. In fact, it's gone to new lows here, which is a big concern. Actually, let me make sure you guys can see that. I might have to zoom out a little bit. Let's see. So I'm going to zoom out there. So you guys can see on the right side, the exchange volume is very low here. It's at 26 billion, which is lower than the lows that we had last summer. So that's really a big concern. That means that usually any moves to the upside are very short-lived, as that's what we were seeing, back in the bear market of 2022, is that this exchange volume started heading down, 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 and lower and lower and lower. So any moves to the upside, crypto just kept getting rejected. All right, so big concern there. And the 24-hour volume is quite low. So definitely concerns there. We're getting this big rejection here already for XRP at this pretty critical level. We just got a peak at 242, and that's a level where we've gotten a lot of resistance historically. I'm going to make a little box here, rectangle. You see it, all through this yeah, I mean, we got a lot of resistance here in November. We had a lot of resistance in this area all the way back in May as well as March of last year. I mean, this goes all the way back to January of last year and even December. We got resistance in this area, so this certainly could be the local peak for XRP. It's possible. In the best case scenario, we get another move up, but man, I'm already taking profits because I'm on a bit more of the cautious side. If it continues up, I still have some XRP, so I will benefit from that as well. But that's what I'm thinking. In terms of the astrology, Mars is in Capricorn typically, and this is how well Bitcoin does when Mars is in Capricorn. Where this arrow is, it does pretty well, so it's a little positive for crypto. Bitcoin seasonality, January 5% up historically, so January is an okay month for crypto typically, so we'll see if we're able to end the month in the green. But like I said, we could get a sizable correction at some point. Really interesting chart from Jason at TIA Crypto here. And this is actually the Dow Jones predictive cycle based on past history. And it's showing a correction towards the end of January, the second half of January. So we could certainly get that for crypto as well. That's kind of the side I'm leaning on. And that's exactly when the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, all conjunct Pluto, which is that very transformative initiative energy where we could absolutely, I'm definitely leaning towards we could get a sizable correction, but a really nice rebound, which is really nice. Oh, another thing I really wanted to show y'all. Okay, here's some really good stuff. So let's zoom out and let's pull up my favorite chart. Now, this is not just the global liquidity, it's the change in global liquidity. Raoul Pal said the change in global liquidity is what's most important. So, once again, looking at the change in global liquidity line here, it is showing some really interesting things. Let's try to line it up here with the price chart. So, in September, it started showing a major downside pressure, and we have lined that up almost perfectly. A really interesting thing is that now it's showing, the yellow line, it's showing a move up, and XRP is now following that. We're now getting a big upside with XRP, but definitely some resistance here. But shortly after, it now shows something updated in the last 24 hours, and now it shows a bigger correction. And this is approximately, and now I repeat, this is approximate January 13th, potential dump all the way to a low of January 21st. But do not just write those dates down and assume that that's exactly what's going to happen, because historically it can be weeks or even months off, especially for XRPs, because XRP peaked in July of last year. Nobody expected that was the peak. But this change in global liquidity peaked in September. That was months away. So a lot of times it can be months away. So either we get a correction in January or February or March, but it is showing a big dump here. The good news, though, is look at what happens after this dump. We see a major move to the upside. Check this out. Huge dump, and then huge move to the upside. And this potentially goes out all the way out to mid-March. Let's see. The peak is, like March 17th. Give or take a few weeks. Or even months for XRP. So really interesting. This is why I'm planning to, if we get a major correction soon, I'm planning to buy aggressively. It's because that looks like a very sizable correction, and it could be, there could be some upside afterwards. All right, but none of this is financial advice. You've got to do your own research. This is just the indicator I'm looking at. This is a customized indicator that I got from one of my private groups with my colleague. All right. So that was really good information, and that lines up not perfectly, but it lines up pretty well with this, where it shows a correction and then some more upside. It does show some pretty big downside for February, and then major volatility in March before it moves up. All right, And okay, here's really important chart here for XRP. So the blue lines in the background is XRP bear market 2022. And check out how closely this lines up with where we're at now. So the green and the red bars is the chart we're at now. You know, it shows this big, whoopsies, let me go back. It shows this big upside move here in January. And that's why recently we're starting to line up almost exactly with that, where we're getting a big pump up, but now it's already starting to correct. It shows some choppy action here around, you know, in the 220s. So there's a possibility we could hang out in the 220s for a little bit, but the big concern is that it does show a big correction, which would line up again with, you know, just like I was saying, a potential big correction coming up here. And after that correction, the good news is I would flip very bullish, is because there would probably be a decent amount of upside from then, if not a continued bull market. All right, so I'll be talking a lot more about this. But yeah, this is be very important, as that's why I have a lot. Believe I have, once again, I think I have around 50% cash again to be able to buy this dip, as that could be an incredible buying opportunity. So that's why I'm thinking. That's why I'm taking some profits here already, and I might continue to take a bit more profits to prepare for that, is what I'm thinking. Oh, let me just move my head a little bit. I think it was in the way. So let me go back to that. And I think you can see, yeah, now you can see that big downside that I was talking about there. Okay, let me know what questions you guys have in the comments below. But once again, yeah, I told my private group, you know, and this is why I have a private group, is because in Telegram, I can immediately tell people what I'm doing. I don't have time every day to be sharing on video, to prepare videos, to do all the preparation work, and then to get this out to you guys in a timely fashion. Sometimes it takes days or weeks for me to put together all the research that goes into these free videos, by the way. These are free videos. And so I give priority to my paid, private group. So I told the group that I was buying in December 20th. That was a great buy. I also said on December 28th, when I bought Render, which I'm really happy with. If we take a look at Render real quick, I bought on the 28th there, and take a look at this. I bought around 130, and I got an 80% upside move. So I'm 86%. 86% upside. Let me clean this up a little bit. Take a look at that. So very happy with that. I bought down here, sold up here. All right, so the people in my private group benefited a lot from that. Just wanted to show the receipts here. You know, I did the XRP long there and the Render long. Pretty happy with those swing trades. Okay, subscribe so you can get access to more of this information that I'm sharing with y'all and benefit from it. And so let me share this, and first let me move my head a little bit into the proper location. My pretty face here. Okay. So 2026 is not a normal market year. Normal strategies will not work. Astrology confirms that 2026 is a structural reset year. Go take a look on my channel, my 2026 Bitcoin astrology video, as I was telling you month by month what I'm seeing in the astrology. And I'm seeing extreme volatility and possible sudden reversals. All right, so that's what I'm preparing for. That's what I've been talking about in this video. Most traders will experience 2026 as missed tops, panic sells, over trading. You do not want to get stuck losing over and over this year. It's going to be wild. We already saw a crazy December where the market was just swinging up and down, up and down, up and down. Traders are going to get just destroyed if you don't know exactly what you're doing, if you don't have the right strategy for this year. Introducing the Crypto Astro Mastermind. The Crypto Astro Mastermind is not about predicting exact prices. It's about seeing 2026 for what it is before you enter it. So when you understand that markets are primed for shocking events, extreme volatility, and huge downside, potentially followed by massive upsides, you stop reacting, you stop losing money, and you start positioning. In this year, what separates winners from losers isn't more indicators, more news articles, more information, more overwhelm. In this Crypto Astro Mastermind, you're supported by live monthly guidance from myself, live monthly calls where you can ask me your questions, and I bring the integration of astrology, technicals, and mindset all together. And I put together a simple and effective strategy for 2026. That's what I'm doing for myself, and I can share some effective strategies that could work for you, but you got to make your own financial decisions. This is a curated group of experienced investors that know what kind of year this is, because I've been telling them for months about what we are heading into here. This is what allows you to protect your profits, not lose massive amounts of money, to avoid costly mistakes and act decisively when you need to make profitable trades, just like I showed you with my receipts here. Secure your seat now and enter 2026 prepared, grounded, and positioned. The total is 1,997. But for those of you who are watching right now, in January, I'm going to add some very special bonuses. The 2026 Crypto Astrology Master Timeline PDF download. I've been giving this to people that have signed up for this, and they are raving about this master timeline that I've put together here. And I'm going to continuing to add more and more value to this, and I will plan to even add the XRP astrology for the entirety, month by month, 2026, so that you can benefit from this, so that you can see exactly what kind of year you're dealing with here. All right, so you can make the right decisions. Plus, you'll also receive a high-value 30-minute session with me where you can ask me your questions, where we can dive in to the specific, XRP astrology for this year, the windows of opportunity, and also the windows where we could see a major correction, which I'm already warning you guys about. This is a $497 value, complimentary when you sign up today. I will walk you through the most critical profit windows of the 2026 crypto astrology, as well as, like I said, the biggest concerns for a major correction. So today I'm going to slash that price. And since you're starting a new year and you're one of my avid viewers, when you use the special coupon code on the checkout page, so you click the links below, you click to the checkout page, you go scroll to the bottom, and there's a little box, you type in Crypto 2026, and then you click the check mark. And originally, I put out 3 spots for this. You get it for only $697. The thing is, we already had 2 people sign up, so now there's only 1 more spot. I kid you not, 1 more spot for the month of January. Click the link below, get in now, and schedule this one-on-one session with me so I can support you. I am excited to support you guys in your XRP and your crypto journey. So the XRP predictions for January, major volatility, like I've been saying over and over. And I'm thinking a correction is due, and we might even be seeing that correction starting right now. Though, like I said, it could be after an initial pump. We've already gotten that initial pump. There's a slight chance we could continue up from here again, as we were seeing, some positive Venus transits. But like I said, just in case that this is the peak, the local peak, I took 20% profits. If we continue to head up more, I'll take more profits. And then I'm thinking when the correction happens, I will buy on extreme fear on major events and major, liquidity event. All right, share this video, as I've been putting a lot of value into this with someone who could benefit from this, an XRP Army, community member. And if you haven't already subscribed, as I'll be coming out with more XRP videos. I'm really liking supporting the XRP community. I am an XRP bull overall. And So looking forward to continuing to supporting you guys with more XRP videos. Let me know in the comments below exactly what you would like me to cover. And I could even potentially come out with an XRP video month by month astrology forecast and technical analysis for the entire 2026 year. So let me know if you guys really want that. All right, thanks everybody, and I'll see you on the next video. Let's see what comments we have. You made $500 on XRP thanks to me. Wow, cool. 11x leverage. Holy moly. You entered at $1.89 on XRP, sold yesterday on the top. Feeling grateful. Wow. Love to hear that, guys. Look at this. We're already getting amazing testimonials here. Boom. Just with these free videos, by the way. Imagine if you joined my private group. Thanks, Jack. Always appreciate your views. Do you think we'll be in the crypto bear market from February? If not, when? Oh, man, that's tricky. That is tricky. Well, okay, I'll have to make another video on that specifically, because there's actually a chance that we have already been in a bear market, where this peak in July was just almost kind of a false peak, because this setup looks very similar to the bear market that we had back here, where we got one peak and then we got the second peak. But, you know, the only difference was this time we got, you know, one peak and the second peak was higher. But there's a chance that we've been in a bear market ever since January of last year. And there's even a chance that after the next major correction, who knows where that will be to? It could be down to, you know, the lower, like $1.20 or something. I don't know how low it could go. Yeah, maybe $1.20, something like that. I would actually flip much more bullish, actually, because we could be, there could be a lot more upside. And who knows, by then, the Fed could be making major decisions. Rates could be at, if rates are at zero and then the money printer goes on again and or it continues to accelerate quantitative easing, then that could actually be extremely bullish. So it could actually, if we were in a bear market from January, maybe, you know, what if we maybe we end the bear market in March, and then it could actually flip more bullish. But that all depends on when we're going to get this correction. Are we going to get it in the next couple weeks? Or are we going to get it like late March? I'll have to keep you guys updated on that. So definitely subscribe. Great question. I think that we have this horrible eclipse in February. Yeah, some of the eclipses are a big concern. Also, the March total lunar eclipse is actually a big concern. Yeah, so we could certainly see more downside pressure. But a lot of it depends on the timing. Like I said, if we're going to get that correction, you know, like in the next week, or if it's going to head more out into the eclipse season. So I'll be sharing a lot more about the eclipses coming up in February 17th, as well as March 3rd. Those are going to be major, major volatility events. But thanks everybody for your questions. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace. Much love.